let's get to it. After our woeful stories of how we both have failed miserably over the past month.
Been some struggles.
There have been some struggles. Let's talk about somebody else who's struggling. Greg Popovich in the Olympic team. Let's start there. And who do you put the blame on? Do you put it more on Pop, or do you put it on Kevin Durant and Damian Lillard and some of these other guys that aren't producing?
I mean, I think it's shared all the way around. You know, the players have to play, and certainly the coaches have to coach the guys. But also, you know, you got to pick a team in a way where you can build a team.
Yeah.
And look, like if we had the top 5, or if we did the top 12 guys in the NBA that are from the United States, and you have them play Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James, Steph Curry, this isn't a conversation because the gap is still pretty wide. But when you start taking, you know, like the World Cup in 2019 for 5-on-5, that was what the D team of probably NBA players. Like, not that they're bad, but when you compare them to who the top 12 is going to be, yeah, it's totally different. Like JaVale McGee is on our Olympic team.
Keldon Johnson,
and again, not bad players. JaVale McGee has made himself a really good NBA player. He's had a terrific career. When you look at where he has come from, and now he's a 3-time NBA champ, and has now made a national team. That is an incredible career. But when you look at national teams of the past, it is Hall of Famers. Every spot, Hall of Famer, top to bottom. So, you know, the talent isn't the same as what we're probably used to, but I think also you're now seeing that since the Dream Team in '92, these countries have heavily invested in basketball. And they have done a really good job of not only developing players, but developing chemistry and camaraderie. And these guys have grown up playing together.
Isn't there a pride, Rob? Don't you think there's more of a pride? You've played in some of these countries. Not that we don't have pride. Not that, again, Kevin Durant doesn't have pride for his country. He does. Right. But isn't it a different level with some of these other guys?
Yeah, it probably is. And I think also, you know, some of those guys might take the national team stuff not more seriously, but yeah, I guess.
Well, Luka said it. Didn't Luka say he'd rather win a gold medal than an NBA title?
Wow. I mean, yeah. And that probably isn't the case for all of our guys.
How about for any of our guys?
I just think that it's become such a foregone conclusion in most years that the U.S. is just going to win.
Yeah.
To where it's like, yeah, of course we'll win the gold medal. Whereas these other countries, look at Spain. Like they go through their golden era, and it's kind of on the back end now. The Gasols are old. Ricky Rubio's getting up there. Like Rudy Fernandez is kind of on his way out. And you look at all these really good Spanish players. Those guys wanted it so bad. So bad. I mean, it would have been like legacy defining for them. But you look at like for LeBron and those guys, the Redeem team was certainly a big deal. And you could tell it's like, hey, we need to get ourselves back to what we are. But did it mean as much to LeBron to win that gold as it would have to some of those Spanish guys?
Probably not.
I mean, LeBron he's accomplished everything. He's already won a gold. You know, it's just like probably not. We don't know. I mean, you wouldn't know unless you ask him, I guess. But the world is getting better, and we're not sending our best group. And
how about not only not sending our best group, but again, you've got a bunch of dudes that are all scorers that can't all be scorers. They're all used to being the guy, and now you're asking Damian Lillard to be something he's not and never been, ever been.
No, I mean, building a team is a huge part of it. But like when you look at like the Redeem team and you hear the stories about Kobe Bryant showing up to camp in Vegas like 3 days early and going to Krzyzewski and being like, I'm not going to shoot in camp. I am only worried about defending. And that's an extreme example because he was like, dude, you need to shoot too because like you're,
Kobe,
one of the 7 greatest players of all time. But he was willing to do that, and he was able to do that too. Whereas Damian Lillard might be willing to, but is he as effective? Right. Like that's a big part of it. Like when you try to be something you're not, sometimes you're like, dude, I'm just not good at this. And that's not his fault. But you've got to be able to build a team and put together a group that can go out there and get the job done because we still should be winning, these games and playing at a high level. And right now we're just not. But I think it's a little bit on everybody. I think the U.S. has to kind of reevaluate how we do this because the world has definitely caught up.
I'm just glad Pop isn't on Twitter, because Pop on Twitter would go back harder than you went back at that dude who was ripping on you.
Yes, he would.
Right?
Mine was weak. Pop would not hold back.
Pop would not stand for the Twitter slander. And listen, we'll see what happens. I still think they can end up winning gold, but they got a long way to go. Like,
but I do think we need to refigure and revamp how we're doing this. There is no doubt about that.
Well, because even like Drew Holiday, I think he's actually a perfect guy for this group, right? But he just got there.
He just flew in from Milwaukee.
Right. He's tired.
That's not fair.
Right.
But he played great the other night, against France. He was good.